Hey G fans, GojiFan93 here, and I just got back from seeing Godzilla Minus One, and boy, is this movie 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm already just gonna say it outright. This movie it blew my mind. It was super intense. Everything about this film was, the advertisements were right, like Rotten Tomatoes saying it was like 100%. A lot of places saying that this was like a masterpiece. They're right. They really are. Yes. Also, there is a Christmas tree behind me. Yes. So that is a thing too. But I got to see it in the early fan event, which was really exciting too. And we went to the AMC in our local town, and I didn't actually know this when I bought the tickets. I mean, it probably was on the tickets when I got them, but we went to like a special IMAX viewing of it. So it wasn't just like a standard digital screening. It was actually like the IMAX experience, which was really exciting. So it, like, every time Godzilla roared, every time he stomped, every time a building crumbled, it was the whole theater was shaking. It was really, really cool. Obviously, this is just going to be my first impressions and thoughts. This is not going to be my official review for it yet. I need to sit on the film a little bit, and I may want to see it again, actually, before it leaves the theater, so that then I can talk about it in a more efficient way with a review. So obviously no spoilers, so don't worry about that. I won't be doing anything in that way. But all I can say is that in terms of I guess I'll start with like the cast, the characters. I really, really enjoyed the cast. The characters were really, the script was, and I guess the story really made me care about the characters, which I've been wanting that from a Godzilla movie for a very long time, because the MonsterVerse hasn't really been doing that for me. Shin Godzilla was a little different because that cast of characters wasn't necessarily supposed to be like characters you were really personally invested in. So it's been a long time since we've had characters that we've truly cared for. And there were a lot of times in the film that I was like, that it was so intense that my heart was racing, thinking that, oh my God, like one of these characters is going to die. And it was just, it was really good. And the acting too was phenomenal as well. I think it's safe to say that we can finally put away the jokes that, people make fun of, for the acting in these films. I think we can say finally that we actually have like legit acting going on in these films. So the character is just amazing, and obviously I'll talk more about that in my official review of the characters when I break them down. Again, the overall story was phenomenal. I don't want to go too much into it because obviously I'll spoil it, but the story was simple, but similar to how the original film was, where 1954 was very simple in its storytelling, but that's not a bad thing. The fact that it was simple and easy to follow made the film a lot more enjoyable. It wasn't something like Shin Godzilla, where you needed to be really focused on what was going on, otherwise you'd get lost, or even like the Singular Point anime, where there's so many things that are flying by that it's like really hard to keep track of what's going on. So that was a breath of fresh air too with that. Also, in terms of like world building too, like, the MonsterVerse does this thing where you need to have a lot of pre-existing knowledge to know what's going on. That's not here. I mean, this is more of an origin film again. It's not supposed to be, related to 54, so it's its own thing, which made it really easy to get into, especially if you're a new Godzilla fan or a new viewer to the franchise. This is probably one to, get started on. And the overall presentation of this film is just amazing. I mean, it's like the effects on this were superb. I mean, I thought Shin Godzilla looked really good, although in Shin Godzilla there were some parts that didn't necessarily look that great in CGI, but this film, the whole thing looked phenomenal. There was not a single part of this film that looked cheap, that looked rushed, or anything like that. The CGI was really amazing. Obviously, I'm not gonna, you can't really compare a Hollywood film to, what Toho can do, because it is still a smaller budget than what the MonsterVerse films are. But I think for what they're able to do, somehow this film sometimes does look more realistic than the MonsterVerse films. So that just goes to show the craftsmanship that went into this film in terms of that. But also a lot of practical sets. I mean, a lot of things felt tangible. A lot of things felt like they were on a physical set, so that was really nice. And of course, I mean, well, before we get to the big G, the music as well. I've already talked about the musical score. I made a review on the soundtrack because it was on Spotify. But finally, getting like what I said in that video, that I can't wait to hear what this soundtrack sounds with the movie playing with it. It just was amazing. I recognized the tracks, and then obviously when the Godzilla suites played, with the classic music, that was really amazing to hear, especially just in a theater setting, and that was fantastic as well. So the musical score was fantastic. And last, of course, the big guy himself, Godzilla. How is he? He is. I mean, this is by far the most terrifying Godzilla. Again, I keep on comparing to Shin Godzilla, but that's just the latest Toho film, so of course I'm going to compare. But Shin Godzilla was scary looking, but wasn't necessarily scary overall, because he didn't really have personality in that film. This one, on the other hand, I mean, especially the details in his eyes and all that stuff. Again, I don't want to go too much in depth, but I just got to say, like, this Godzilla made me, I was like, goodness, like, if I'm ever out in the ocean and I see the fins popping up or whatever, I would be like super freaked out because of this film. It was really well done with that. Again, I gotta say, his eyes in this film, really pay attention to it, because they put a lot of detail into it, and he has personality in this film. So for all the people that are worried that Godzilla doesn't have personality in these films, definitely this one he does. He is not a nice guy at all. Probably one of the meanest Godzillas in the whole franchise. So that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to make this a quick thoughts, impressions video for you guys. Later the review will come out where I talk more in depth about it. I'll do like a spoiler / non-spoiler review of it. But I just want to get these initial thoughts out right after seeing it, so it's fresh on my mind. But this is a 10 out of 10 film. I gotta say, this is probably one of the best films. I will say, though, it still isn't going to replace 84 for me, because there's a lot of nostalgia embedded with that film. I don't think any Godzilla film is going to overtake 84, no matter how good it is. But I will say, right now at least, just coming right off of seeing the film, I will say this is definitely my second favorite film out of the whole franchise. If it wasn't for 84, -1 would definitely be it. So that's got to mean something. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's my thoughts, my first initial impressions with Godzilla -1. Fantastic film. I hope that a lot of you guys that got to see it today for the early fan event had a really good viewing. I actually got to meet a really old friend of mine back in the day, so that was really exciting to get to meet him in the theater too. So that was really cool, and but I hope that on December 1st with the official release, that more of you guys are going to be able to go out and see it. And then also for our international fans, hopefully you guys will be able to see it next week. I think it's sometime on the 5th or 10th. I can't remember exactly like when the European dates are, but hopefully the rest of the world will be able to see it, and you guys will enjoy it too. So definitely go see it. Go support this film. Let's show Toho that this is definitely what we want to see more of. And that's pretty much it for me, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G fans.